Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsy69. Welcome back to the channel. Now, in today's video, blast from the past. Yes, the blast from the past, where we look at tanks that used to be absolutely fantastic, but nowadays they are just not so good as they once was. Sometimes they're even like really poor. Now today we are going to look at the Hellsing, the tier 7 tank destroyer. When this tank was first released into the game, it looked like this, for example, with the camo. More recently, Wargaming did give it a different camouflage, and I think it looks fantastic, the newer camouflage. But you didn't have that option back in the days. So Wargaming did add a new camouflage. But when this tank was first released along with the Dracula, wow, both of these tanks were really insane. Like, you'd never really see anything like these tanks before, and the fact that you could get them for free was absolutely insane. So the armor profile, not so great. Of course, it is the first tank to ever receive the double shot, which was why some people really liked it. You shoot once, 2 shells come out, pretty much one after the other. DPM 2633, 8.86 second on your reload time, magazine reload time. The reload time between each shot, is 0.25. Now you only have to press the fire button once for both shells to come out, but literally it was like bang bang. So yeah, it was very quick, that both shells. Now unfortunately, because of the gun dispersion, etc., the second shell had the it could go anywhere, you know, unless you're properly aiming or you're close up, the second shell could go anywhere. So of course it's got 2 shells per shot. The penetration 170 on your AP, 220 on your APCR, and 45 on your HE. I don't run it with calibrated shells because it is APCR. You don't really see the effect from running with calibrated shells. So I do run it with the rammer or whatever it is, the first one. So it might be even the vent with this. Average damage 200, so you got 200 damage per shot, 170 on your APCR, 300 on your HE. So of course, if you can get the HE out, it is definitely worth doing so, especially if you can penetrate both shots. Aim time 3.5, and the dispersion, actually not too bad, is 0.288 with only 6 degrees of gun depression, but a top speed of 60 kilometers per hour. So even though it's marked down as a tank destroyer, you should not be playing this tank like a tank destroyer. If anyone out there plays this tank like a TD, then you are doing it wrong, sunshine. You should really not be playing this tank. It's more like a medium tank. You have to play it like a medium tank. It's got the mobility of a medium tank. You can actually get some bounces. I mean, the armor is weird as it is, but it's not fantastic. The armor profile isn't fantastic, but it has got weird armor, so you can get some bounces on the turret and on the front, that sort of the upper plate area, but yeah, you can't now sort of rely on that armor profile. You used to, like back in the day, like it was a very troll tank, but nowadays, yeah, it's not great when it comes to armor. Now the fall of the tank, it had its rise and it also has had its fall. Now the fall was of course when Wargaming introduced a tank that goes by the name of the Annihilator. Now, when this tank was the only tank in the game like it was completely different. People were raving at just how good and OP that this tank was, and they were correct. It was OP, the same as the Dracula. It was OP, and not a lot of people knew how to deal with them. It's a double shot, it fires 2 shots. Nobody could sort of understand it, like, wow, oh my god, it fires 2 shots, what the hell? And it was very OP. And then for some reason, if 2 shots wasn't enough, Wargaming released a tank that fires 3 shots. Not only does it fire 3 shots, but it had that armor profile, and not only that, but it had the special speed boost, or it still got the special speed boost, so it makes you go faster. So yeah, and it was even before the tank was released and we knew it was being released, I knew it was going to be insane. Like, I completely knew the Annihilator was going to be insane, because we had a tank that fires 2 shells. No, armor profile wasn't great, yes, the speed is great, and then they released the tank with 3 shells. Like, what did you expect? And then ever since then, Wargaming have never really released the Annihilator like for outright gold. Of course, you've been able to get it in crates, etc. But I don't think to this day that you've been able to go into the shop and actually buy the tank for 15k gold. It might have been on the auction, I can't remember, but yeah, and that's because Wargaming know it was insane, and it still is insane to some certain aspects. Now, people compare the Annihilator to the Smasher. Of course, the Smasher does an amazing amount of damage per shot, but so does the Annihilator. The Annihilator has the 3 shells, and it could do equally as much damage, if not more damage, than the Smasher does, you know, because you fire once and it fires 3 shots. You could do upwards of just over 600 to 700 damage per shot, and that is the same with the Smasher, except for the Smasher didn't have quite the armor profile the Annihilator's got, and it doesn't have the speed. So, some people do prefer the Annihilator and some people do prefer the Smasher. I prefer the Smasher, in all honesty, because you do have the opportunity with the HE as well. And with the Annihilator, the same as the Hellsing really, if you missed any of your shots, then the DPM does dramatically decrease. The same as this, like, it's only got the 2 shells, but if you miss one of them shots, but only if you pen one, but you miss the other, then yeah, you're sort of doing 200 damage per shot, and then it doesn't make a fantastic tank. You have to try to make sure that you do penetrate every shot that you are taking. It's aim. That's all you got to do is aim. And yeah, that is where this tank isn't too bad, because you do have that speed, so you can get around the map very, very quickly. You can flank people, you can get close to people, and then you can make both of them shots count. So yeah, it's a shame, because it was such a good tank. There's loads of videos out there back when this was first released, just showing how insane this tank was, and a number of people have done a top 5 video where top 5 tanks in Blitz, and this was always up there. This was always up there, but now you wouldn't even add this tank in the top 20. Honestly, not even maybe even more than that, the top 30 or 40 or maybe even 50. It's not considered a great tank anymore, even though yes, you can perform well in it. Of course you can perform well in any tank, but it's just not considered a tank that's worth buying at the moment, because if I've got an Annihilator, why would I need to play a Hellsing? And that is 100% true. I would never ever pick the Hellsing over the Annihilator. There's no reason to, absolutely no reason to. So yeah, I would even go too far as saying it's not in the top 50. It's not in the top 50 tank no more, where before, back in the day, before the Smashers, before the Annihilators, this was number 1 or number 2. Like, yeah, absolutely crazy how times change. Of course, we understand that times change, but when you're going from a top 1 or top 2 tank going down to sort of a top 50 tank, then yeah, you can see how much and how much has changed in the last sort of 5 or so years. But yeah, I'm glad I've got it in my garage. Wargaming, of course, did make it look a lot better with the camouflage. You've got this standard camo, which this guy's running now, and then you've got the camouflage that, if you want to go back onto the first, rewind it, and just the Raven camouflage or whatever it's called, much different, and it does make it look a lot more beautiful with the new camouflage. The same as the Dracula. When that come into the game, it got the grey camouflage-ish, the grey camouflage, and then Wargaming did add a new camouflage that you could get, which is the white one, which again, because we're used to these camouflages for so many years, to see a different tank, it is like seeing a different tank. It did definitely make the difference. But you can see, like that shot there against the Eraser, he missed the second shot. That could be the difference between a win and a loss, because look, he's a one shot. The Eraser could have actually killed him, but he thought of using the HE and it paid off. But yeah, that missing that one shot could be the difference between a win and a loss. So if you have got the tank, or if you've only just got the tank, maybe you've got it in a crate or somehow. Obviously we've got October coming up, which is Halloween. They might become available. Usually they do become available across the Halloween time as a bundle or crates or something. So if you are looking at getting it, I don't think you should spend too much money on it, because yeah, it's just not the same, which unfortunately I don't like saying that, because like I said, it used to be one of the best tanks in the game. To go from that to now saying that this tank really isn't worth buying, yeah, it is a shame. But you know, it's still a decent tank, but unfortunately it's just not an Annihilator. There's an Annihilator that exists, and this doesn't come close to matching that tank. So definitely a very, very good blast from the past tank, but yeah, unfortunately it's just not as good as it once was. So thank you for watching, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We'll be doing some giveaways in the next few weeks or so, hopefully, so make sure that you are subscribed to this channel. But for now, hope you enjoyed the video. I'm meadsy69, and I'll catch you all soon. Bye bye. With